welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into my sinking funds and savings tracker closeout for December of 2024. This wraps up my year. This is what the numbers are going to look like, and I'm excited to get into it because I'm ready for a new start. New year, new start, new changes, decisions, all the things, just improvement of quality of life is what I'm looking for, and that is what we're going to work on with our finances and our budget. Now, you're not going to see a lot change here. As you can see, there were only 2 transactions this month. Praise God. Previous months, I've been in and out of this account quite a bit, and I don't like doing that. I like to make 1 deposit and maybe 1 withdrawal, 2 at the most, and that is what's happened this month, and this is a typical month for me. My sinking funds are annual bills that come due, as well as annual activities such as birthdays, Christmas, gift things, exchanges, and stuff like that that happen the same time every year. So I save up for it all year long, and then when the time comes, I use the account to pay for what I have spent for that year. And I've got mine set up into 3 different sections, I believe. The first, subscriptions, and these subscriptions come out once a year. These are my annual subscriptions that I've signed up for. Sometimes I add new ones and then change my mind later. I did that earlier this year, and especially if my husband wants to bring one in, then bring in subscriptions as well. I usually run all of the subscriptions and the bills and the budget and stuff like that, but occasionally he'll want something, and I'm like, okay, we can do this and just make it work. I only have 1 due this month. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm going based on how much it cost last year. The price did not go up. It is for my laptop. I have an Apple MacBook Air, and it does not come with Microsoft 365. It has the spreadsheet and Word document and things like that. So what I do is I get a subscription and use it. I'm so familiar with those programs. I've used them all my life that when I go to a different one, like what Apple provides, I'm just lost. So even though I love my Apple products, I don't typically use those. And it's easier when I'm working with other people that have Microsoft 365 and Excel sheets. I can just send over those sheets or make it a link available for them to use, and I have it all set up for them. So it's just easier to have it than not have it. But I do know with tax for $69.99 based on last year's purchase, this is what I paid, $74.19. And so that is how I have mine set up for this year. I just not rounded it, but I found out how much I had total in the beginning, minused it from the $74.19, and then that gave me $10.06 I needed to finish it off. And I'm going to end with a 0 in December and then start new in the new month. So for the new month in January, I would take this number, $74.19, divided by 12, because it's due in 12 months, which is December, $6.18. I would round that up to $6.19 to have a little extra change. And when it comes to that last month, I'll make the adjustment, so it'll be the even number and then start all over again. So even though this doesn't happen until the 30th and today's the 23rd, I'm going to go ahead and count it and close the books on it because I know it's not going to change much. And if it does, I have an erasable pen. I can go back and change these numbers. It won't be that big a deal because there's not a lot of transactions here. So that is good, thank goodness. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to start at the top. I'm going to come up with my new ending balance going into the new year. That is going to give me the total I have here in this savings account to use for the new year. And my sinking funds never get fully funded because once they're fully funded, it's the date that they need to be used, and then I just start all over again. So they become mature or fully funded on the date I need to use them, just like this one with my laptop and the subscription. This is where it comes from, and again, it's fully funded, it goes to 0, and then the new month starts with the new amount. So let's go ahead and find out our new endings. The only other thing I did was transfer everything out of the birthday Christmas except for $100. And the reason I left $100 in the sinking fund is because my sinking fund annual begins November 1st. So I need to make sure in December I have $100 and then start new in December to November. That's 12 months, not January to December. Because Black Friday and all the sales begin in November, and I try to shop very early to make sure everything's taken care of before or right around Black Friday, and everything is already taken care of for birthday and Christmas. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. But I have a Christmas Eve birthday for one of my sons. He was born on Christmas Eve, so we separate that, and we make sure we have enough funds for the birthday as well as Christmas, and we just overload them with the gifts all at once. He's turning 26 this year. If you're new, my sons are autistic. They're kind of like teenagers, but they're in their 20s. So maturity and things like that are a little bit different time frame for them, and they may always be this way. So it's a little interesting and different, but we still treat them the same as they were when they were kids. Spend about the same. That will probably start changing as they get older in years to come. But for right now, we haven't changed a whole lot. So I wanted to make sure that I made sure I had $100 here in December, and we're good to go. The first item we have is Amazon Prime. I put $12.56 a month away. We pay tax in the state of Kentucky on our purchases for our annual subscriptions, whether it's Amazon, whether it's the Apple subscriptions and things like that. There's a tax because they know we're in the state of Kentucky and the laws here state that has to be paid. So it's a little bit more than the $139. I think it's $150 something. And at the end of this video, I'll actually show you what an annual schedule looks like this for sinking funds that I kind of sketched out really quick. And I didn't want to go through the whole process like I do here, but I will show you what that looks like, and I'll show you at the end of this video. So I already have $25.12 put in the savings account. I added $12.56. So I am now funded up to $37.68 for Amazon Prime. Now these individual deposits are totaled together, and then one deposit's made. Now I do have dividends for this account. So if you subtract $1.46 from this number, that's the actual deposit I made into the account in order to cover all the deposits for all these line items. I don't have cash envelopes for this, but this kind of represents a cash envelope. If you wanted to do cash envelope, like here I would do $13 every month. And then when I get to the last month when it's due, I would put all that cash in the bank and then make sure I had the appropriate amount and just adjust for the difference, since I would be putting more than what I need, and then make the payment from there. So that's how I would normally do it if I was using cash, but I don't have a bank near me, so I don't use cash. Everything's electronic, and I can go by the penny here, and I prefer doing it that way. I know it's not the most popular way of doing it, but for some reason I like doing it that way. So I've already done the Apple, and 365 just reminds me it's a Microsoft product that I'm subscribing to through Apple. The next thing I have is Xander Identity Theft Protection for me, my husband, and my youngest son. My oldest son aged out of that. I need to get him his own identity theft protection. I'll have to talk to him about that. But I did put $13 as the first one because it's $145, and $12 times 12 is $144. So it just gave me the extra dollar I needed for that first month. There's $12 I added to that, so that is $15. Make sure my math in my head is right. I'm sorry, $25. I told you. Wasn't making sense. All right, $25 is what I have for my Xander Identity Theft. Norton is my husband's, and this might come out this month before the end of the month, but I remember last year doing it in January, so I'm not quite sure. If I have to adjust this, I will. If not, I'll just put it for January. It'll be fine. The number will work out just fine. Let's see, Norton, I have $53.67. I'm going to add $5.33 a month to that. Gives me $59. Yeah, I think it comes out in January. because he has a PC laptop that he uses. He's not an Apple product user. In fact, if I gave him an Apple product, he would throw it out the window. It would drive him bananas. So we don't allow him to do that. I have Canva. It's $120 a year annually. I don't think it's going up. I know mine's not going up. I looked it up in my account. It's not going up any for me, but I do know the business side of it. If you're using it for business, it is going up. So I'm not sure. So it was $70. I added 10. That's $80. 12 and 12 for Epidemic Sound, which is $144 a year. It's the music you hear. I listen to it sometimes and download the music and things like that. So that's $24 there. Home maintenance. So we wiped out home maintenance in our November budget. So we started with 0 in December and we're up to $50, which is what I put every month. This goes to the maintenance of the house. So if I have to call a plumber, which I've been doing, had to do, which is why we were wiped out so much this year. Anytime I need to make a service call and they come out, the heating and AC guy, if he needs to come out and take care of our unit, and it's a service call and it's a few $100s, then I would use this account. Orkin, this is where they come in and spray and put granules around the house. It's quarterly. It's $47 a month. I'm still doing the quarterly. It keeps the bugs out and that makes me happy. I live a little bit in the country, right on the outskirts of the city, but close enough that I'm 2 miles from a grocery store. So that's not too bad. I had nothing. I'm starting with $47, and hopefully this is the right amount. I'll double check that when I do the annual going forward. And yeah, that's what we are looking at right now. Propane, we used all the money we saved up for propane. I save up about $240 a year. And then if I need to spend a little more or whatever, I will for propane. And that is for our fireplace. So we can have heat in the winter without having to use the heater all the time. So $40 is what I have here. I had $20 left over when we made the purchase, and then I added $20. Trash, $30 a month. I'm up to $60. I start paying on trash quarterly. So in January, I have a trash charge that's going to come out. And that trash charge, I actually got the bill for that. So I'm not going to put $30. I'm going to put $24, $25 based on how much it is to bring it to 0. So I will show you that in January setup. Car maintenance. This is oil changes. This is car washes. If it builds up high enough and we need to maintenance the car for specific flush or specific, like I just got new brakes and a whole bunch of car maintenance done and fixes on my car. So we wiped that account. That's why it was all the way to 0. If you saw November's, you know how much of a hot mess November's was. Taxes and tags. This is also for our vehicle. I take whatever I spend in July for taxes and tags, divide it, see how much is left in this, because cars depreciate. They don't tax you as much on older cars as they do newer cars. And then as that happens, this amount goes down. So I just use last year's numbers. Whatever's left over, I save it and then divide by 12 on what I need. And this time it turned out $20 a month. So I have $128.78 plus the 20, and that gives me $148.78. And that is for 2 vehicles. One's going to be 12 years old in June, and the other one will be 15 years old. So yeah, and it's not being the Jeep is 15. And the Nissan Armada is the 12-year-old, and our 15-year-old has less miles than our 12-year-old vehicle. So, but it still needs work done, and it's still got a good value. So the Jeep does not seem to depreciate as much as the Armada does. It's just one of those popular vehicles everybody loves. So tax prep. This is for our tax preparer. To do our taxes, $160, $20 is $180, and there's that. I left myself $100 in birthday, Christmas, so I can start December as the new month to do 12 months in. I try to make sure it's $1,200 throughout the entire year. You won't see $1,200 here at any given point because midway through the year, one of my son's birthdays is in June, so I buy birthday gifts then. My husband and I are October babies, though we try to take that out of the budget more than we do this line item. And then our other son is in December, and that's when it typically gets wiped out for birthday and Christmas. So, but for the year, it's about $1,200. So far this year, we have $12.84 left. I have used part of this to fill in some of these others in order to make the numbers work. And then this month I had $1.46 in interest. That gave me $14.30. Okay, now I have all that. I've already totaled the beginning balance and then the deposit we made. So now we are going to look at how much total was withdrawn. Now this was Black Friday sales, all the Christmas stuff, anything. I still owe a little more on the credit card, but this is what I paid on there. I'm still working on paying it off with the regular budget. I could use this $100, but I don't want to. The goal is to make sure I have $1,200 a year for all the spending, and I'm going to make sure I keep this $100 here. Though I do have a plan where I can get a little extra money to put $100 to what we spent, and I will tell you about that in a minute. So $74.19 I know is what that subscription is going to be. It comes out December 30th. I'll pay it on December 30th, and that works. And then I transfer all $653.14 from this savings account to our credit card for the Christmas purchases, and that means we spent, let's see, $727.33. All right, now the number should be $1,242.68 plus the $441 minus the $727.33. So I have $915.76. I'm going to be brave and write this number down. I'm going to total this going down and make sure this is the same number. And I will be right back. Okay, my number matches when I total this way and this way, so we are good to go here. I do need to check and make sure the bank account matches with that, but I will do that later. I'm pretty sure it does. I just forgot to check this morning. Okay, so now that the sinking funds are done, this is what I'm ending the year with. This is all in a money market savings account that I have, and it just sits there until I need it. I can actually take the money from that account and pay towards the credit card because it's all one bank, and I just transfer the payment that way. I don't have to go to my checking and then to the credit card. It just goes straight to it, which is kind of nice, and pay the bills that way. And then that way it doesn't affect my checking account budget, which is what all the other trackers are for they're all considered for my checking account, whether it's a monthly paycheck to paycheck or weekly check-in. They're all related to what the checking account says, and that's how I keep track of all of it in detail. So let's go ahead and do the savings tracker here. Not much going on, as you can see. No withdrawals. This is a high yield savings. This has more dividends and more money coming into it as far as interest being paid to it. Here it was only $1.46. This is either right at 1% or just below 1%. This is 5.33%. So the larger numbers are in here. This, I have money moving in and out quite frequently as far as I'm concerned, with at least 2 transactions a month, and I don't want to move money out of this very frequently. Though I've had to for emergency reasons. This is the emergency fund. Going into January, these two are going to be combined, and that's how you're going to see it. And you're going to see a line item for taxes. What we've done is taken a traditional Roth that's pre-taxed, and we're making it post-tax into today's tax rate. And that means we're paying today's taxes, not future taxes when we withdraw from it. As I was saying, the taxes are being paid today, not in the future. If you look traditionally, taxes rarely go down. And because of that, on getting this set up, we wanted to prepay the taxes and then put this in a post-tax Roth. What we did is we took $45,000 of what my husband had, about $100,000 of 401ks and Roths and stuff like that he had from other businesses he worked for before we got to where we are now. He had a couple of those out there. So we took that money and we're doing it now early. And then as we go forward, when this money is withdrawn, it's withdrawn without any taxes. So we took half of it, did $45,000 of that $100,000 and minus $9,000 of it to pay the taxes. Now we probably don't need all $9,000, but if we do, it's there. $36,000 is going into it. That's half, and then the other half of the $45,000. It's not quite $100,000 that he had put aside, but it was whatever he had put aside. We are taking that, and we're going to do this again next year. So that way we're not wiped out on taxes later. And then going forward, we should be fine, and everything will be done post-tax and not pre-tax. And the investments will grow based on that number. Either way, pre or post, I don't think it makes a lot of difference in the sense of which one's right and which one's wrong. It makes a lot of sense based on your risk tolerance, how comfortable you feel, as well as what you are thinking of for your future. And the less taxes we have to pay in the future, the better off we will be. We're going to be in a position, hopefully, to have our house paid off by the time my husband's 65, even though we're taking a year off of doing our interest-only payment for the year. We hope to get back into that in the next year and just aggressively pay down our house and make it a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage and have it paid off. But if it takes us a few extra years, we'll do that. So as you can see here, the numbers are already filled in. Basically, I had to add $139.01, which was the interest. And I have an Edward Jones account, which is why it says EJ. This was the interest I've gotten so far this year. I can't really tap into that because it's being folded in every month, but the interest is building there, and that is awesome. And over time, as we have this account, that interest will be allowed to, be made available for us when we need it. I think it can be now. I haven't really used the account enough to learn everything I need to know. Right now, it doesn't say it's available, so I'm just going to let this build. And if we get over $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. I mean, that's a pretty good interest being paid back to us. More than that, it could be up to, if it's right now sitting at, let's see, 8, oops, that's not an 8, 839.36. Let's say, I think I did this in July, 7 months. No, that's not right. July, August, September, October, November, December, so 6 months. 8, and obviously this is more than $100 a month, so that's $139. So this has been the average for 6 months. So over 12 months, that would be around $1,600 a year, which is nice, and it could go up and up as long as this number keeps growing and we don't have to take a lot out. We will take a hit when we have to pay the taxes though. So right now, $100 or more I'm happy with, and hopefully it grows more and more. But this is our emergency fund account, and then I'd like to get into a brokerage account as well and start building that up. I don't know much about them, but I hope to get into them very soon. And that is my sinking funds and savings tracker for the month of December. I did say I do have my annual already taken care of, and I'll go ahead and show that to you. And this is what it looks like. Very simple. I don't need to calculate a whole lot, but I'll just walk it through with you guys as I get it zoomed in. So I didn't have a sticker for it, so sinking funds annual, I just wrote it there at the top. These are my categories, monthly, annual, and then notes. And these are all the same categories I have on my sinking funds on the other page here. This is what I put into the monthly. And this is what the actual annual is. So this may be off a little bit based on how this divides. So if it has a rounding number, like we know the 7419 had a different number, and I rounded it up to 19, so that changes it a little bit. So 619 is not this number. It's actually a little bit higher, but that's okay. It's about 9-10 cents higher. I have the due dates on when they're due. This one's due September 13th. This one's due December 30th. This is November 3rd. And this is due in December, January. I wrote December, but it could be January, or I may just pay it in January. I don't know. I'll go back and change that. This is Canva. That's always due in April 6th. The Epidemic Sound's always October 30th. Home maintenance does not have an end date. It doesn't have a date where it matures to the point where it has a due date. Orkin, it comes out. They come out on February, May, August, and November. Propane, I have them come out anywhere between October and November to make sure the winter is ready for, or the propane tank's ready for winter and the fireplace. And then trash is January, April, July, and October. They're all due on the 10th. Car maintenance does not have an end date. Tags is June. I think I want them completed in June. It might be due in June. I don't know. Could be July. But I'm basing this based on when I paid them this past year. So I think I paid them a month early in June, but they're due in July. And I like to have it done as soon as the tags are ready. And they send you the bill. I don't like waiting those 30 days. Tax prep is in March. Sometime I usually have our taxes done. And then gifts, always $100 a month. That's at $1,200 a year. This is perpetual, no due date, and it just keeps going over. So my monthly sinking funds amount should be around $396.40. So it's $400 and below. That $390 to $400. I know I have enough to cover each one of these categories going throughout the year. I know how much total, $4,756 a year in bills and expenses that I know will come up and we are going to spend our money on. If we choose to cancel any of these, there's a lot we could cancel here that aren't necessary, but I know that all the home maintenance stuff is pretty much necessary. The car maintenance and car tags is absolutely necessary. Tax prep, I really would love to keep that. I would love to keep Amazon Prime. It's definitely worth it for the free shipping. As much as we have items come to the house, we definitely save. I don't have their credit card or anything, so I don't save in that aspect. But it does tell me how much I save in shipping for a year, and it's for $300 or $400 a year in savings and shipping. So that's pretty good. You always want to help with identity theft, and then you want to protect your devices. I could cancel the Apple, but I don't want to. And we're not in a desperate place where where I need to make that decision. Canva, Epidemic Sound, those would be the first two I cancel right away. I would use YouTube Music, and I would use the free version of Canva. The rest of these I would have to keep. So I have bare minimum of luxuries in this sinking funds. So, when you're making your decisions for sinking funds, you really have to think through what's a want, what's a need, and if you had to cut them out, already have in mind what would be what you need to cut them out. So that's already in play when you make your decisions. So those are my annual sinking funds, and as you saw before, my monthly sinking funds. And here they are side by side. I just tucked it in here. I'm going to be moving this into my new planner, which I've already filmed kind of a montage of me laying down stickers with some music. I still have to edit that and get that uploaded. I'm going to be doing my monthly budget for January and my monthly budget, or my paycheck one budget for January, because I'm not allowing any cash from December to come into January. So we're just going to start fresh at the new year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.